July 21st Board of Education meeting. If I could get a roll call, please.
Dr. Cordolino?
Here.
Mrs. Fano?
Here.
Dr. Modrak? Here. Mr. Palma?
Here.
Mr. Petrosino?
Here.
Mr. Rappaport?
Here.
Mrs. Smith? Mrs. Zuckerman?
Here.
Mr. Daughtry?
Here. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The open public meeting notice.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provision of the Act, the Montville Township Board of Education provided a public notice of this meeting, which included the time, date, and location, that was posted at the Montville Township Municipal Building, all Montville Public Schools, the Montville Public Library, the Montville Township Board of Education Administrative Office Building, the district website, and advertised in the Daily Record and the Tab into Montville, the board's official newspapers, on March 26, 2026.
Thank you. Let's go right into the superintendent's report.
So we're going to start off with Laura. Are you all set? So, throughout the year, we have so many great presentations. We have so many award-winning students, and we recognize them. And you saw that at the end of the year. We had so many things going on. We had an extremely long board meeting. Laura was gracious enough to allow us to move her forward to July. We don't have anything going on in July. So, and we appreciate you coming in during the summer of your own time and doing this. Laura is coming back straight from the White House, award-winning nationalist, all about AI. And I don't want to give you too much because I don't want to steal your thunder, but it was just incredible for her to be recognized, for her to win this competition. And she's going to educate us tonight about AI, what she's doing in the classroom, and where we're going as education and teachers. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Good evening. I'm here tonight to share a story that started here and ended here. It was on my birthday in September. I had just read a New York Times article about how high school seniors were having the worst reading score since 1992, attributed to screen time in the pandemic. Then I learned about the Presidential AI Challenge. I didn't know what it was. It was something new. When I saw there was an educator category, I decided to check it out. Track 3A, challenge educators to teach an AI concept to students in a new and unique way. And that is one of my favorite things to do as a teacher, to come up with creative ways to deliver instruction. So, Chat in the Box was born. I created an unplugged, game-based learning tool designed to deliver AI education for all. It can be played in elementary school, middle school, and high school. It's easy to use, engaging, empowering, and it incorporates literacy. When you open the box, it's somewhere going around, you will find three decks, each targeting a specific AI competency. Chat box number 1 is reverse the prompt, which is for natural language processing. Chat box number 2 is in plain sight for abstraction, and chat box number 3 is triple wordplay for machine learning. The core of the task of reverse the prompt is to write the prompt that created the image. Students are shown the image and they have to write the prompt. For the younger grades, they would identify words. We got some critical thinkers when this was brought to our students. Third graders questioned, where'd the part come from? It's not in the prompt. The high school students, they gave me a hard time because they said that is not a waffle cone because the prompt said waffle cone. The in plain sight decks, students analyze these AI-generated images that depict idioms, that literal idioms. So they have to distinguish between a simple interface, which is the phrase's figurative meaning, and its hidden implementation, the literal meaning behind the saying, thereby modeling abstraction, which is found in complex AI systems. This example is for Green with Envy. I particularly like this story because I had some students say, never heard of it. So we decided to discuss William Shakespeare, who talked about the green-eyed monster, that later turned into Mark Twain, where he said green with envy in a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court. The last box, triple wordplay. Students were given 3 terms, were to predict what the AI would come up with. This one was home, Pennsylvania, and oval. They were confused when the answer was the White House, because they said to me, they said, Furman, the White House isn't in Pennsylvania, it's in Washington, D.C. Now I can actually tell them, yes, but it's on Pennsylvania Ave. I was there. I submitted this learning tool on January 16th. My submission included a 4-minute video, a website, and a 10-page research paper. On March 16th in the evening, I received an email letting me know I was the state winner, and I was continuing to the regional competition. I didn't know there was a regional competition. I just was very happy to get that far. But on April 16th, during a live stream, they announced I was the Northeast regional winner and therefore a national finalist. The adventure started, I left on June 7th for Washington, D.C. for 3 days of AI-focused events staying at the National Conference Center. And then the adventure started at the National Air and Space Museum, where I saw the Space Shuttle Discovery. We showcased our projects at the historic Andrew Mellon Auditorium. I visited Microsoft and Amazon. But the highlight of our trip was our visit to the White House, starting with a press conference in the East Room, followed by a reception for us in the Rose Garden. This experience has afforded me the opportunity to benefit our district with AI educational resources, real-world connections. This is actual AI engineer from Microsoft Excel that out of Washington State that came into DC, and I had been on my regional competition with the Zoom with him, so it was great to be with him in person. And a collaboration with professionals. We're in the Rose Garden doing the YMCA. And a once-in-a-lifetime story where I like to tell everybody that I had 4 glasses of White House lemonade. Overall, it was quite a way to celebrate 250 years. I continue to promote Chat in the Box as a starting point for AI education, not just on the local level, but on the national level. And this summer, I'm working to disseminate it as an unplugged STEM initiative. So thank you for letting me share this incredible experience.
Just incredible. I taught history, and I love history. So that you're only the second person I know that actually has been invited to the White House. So, this is incredible. And for you to see everything and just be part of the living history is incredible. And now be able to bring that experience back to our high school and our students, and be able to actually tell them, this, personal. It's just incredible. So I'm very impressed, very excited. Can't wait where you're going to take this, because AI is changing all the time. So 2 years from now, who knows, So this is incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody? Yeah, so the box is really, Any questions or anything?
I'd like to say thank you so much.
John, turn it on, please.
I just want to say thank you for it sounds so cool. The game itself seems cool, and your experience, and that you could bring this all back to our district. Bravo! It's amazing.
As the winner, are they planning to take this and use this at other schools, or is there anywhere where this is going from here? Or?
That's what I'm working on right now. I'm trying to continue to promote that out there, and I'm working with the group that actually did that. When I have more information, I'll be happy to share it with everyone again, too.
Are you going to patent this and then get this out there?
I developed it as an open collaboration project, so on the website where teachers can add their own cards to it. And I actually, when Dr. Van Buskirk was here, she had brought this to the 3rd grade with the Media Center and asked for specific science cards for that triple wordplay so they could incorporate it in their 3rd grade science learning.
Wonderful.
Anybody else?
Yeah, that's just an amazing game you have there. Really very creative. And now, did you use AI to get some of the answers for things, and did you integrate that into how you developed it?
I'm not an artist. If it weren't for AI, I don't think any of those cards would have been done. And it was very difficult to get AI to, with the idioms, to not give me the figurative meaning. And I actually, believe it or not, got the idea for the idioms with a PD with Mr. Sanford about Notebook LM. Because he told, I don't know if you recall it, but you were saying how you could shorten the output from it. You told it to cut to the chase, and it understood you. And a light bulb went off in my head, and that was early in the school year.
Wonderful, thank you.
A scissor cutting of people chasing the other people. I want to play the game. No, it's a hard board game. Oh, the instructions were on the.
Okay, Katine, moving on.
So when we met last, we were discussing the possibility of projects for a referendum. And we were going to open up a survey for the community members to join in that decision-making process. We will be presenting the results of those surveys. However, we are going to first have a presentation by Mr. Will Ross, who is from the architect firm that we use, Perrette Somgen Architects, to discuss what has been going on in the schools and what are some of the important elements of these projects that need to be addressed. So I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Ross.
Microphone, or am I loud enough? No, you need the mic for it. Needs to be recorded. For forever. No problem. It's fine. Good evening. Thank you all for having me. I am Will Ross from Perrette Somgen Architects, senior associate with PSA. I've been with them for over 14 years and been working with Montville for over 10 years. A brief agenda this evening. We'll go through this very quickly, but a little bit about our firm, our history with Montville over the past 10 plus years, our facilities condition assessment that we completed, and is a living document, our recommended high priority projects, and then funding sources of how the district has been accomplishing projects and how they will continue to accomplish more projects. So high overview of PSA by the numbers. Our firm's been in business for 38 years. We've been servicing K through 12 clients for 32 of those years. We have 115 diverse team members, 21 licensed architects, 5 MEP engineering teams, 3 interior designers. We pride ourselves on our relationships and our ongoing clientele. We've had 456 repeat clients over the years. We currently represent 80 plus K through 12 entities. We've completed over 10,000 projects in excess of $3 billion, 60 plus referenda with a pass rate of 80% in a value anywhere between $2 million and $188 million. These are some stories that we've told over the past of our brand promise that help promote our project understanding, our collaboration with our clients, our success, and our smoke jumping, which is our responsiveness, which I may touch later on in the presentation. Focusing on Montville and our relationship over the last 10 years, the district has been tackling capital and maintenance projects through the reserves ongoing every year. In addition to that, we had a successful referendum in 2017. In 2019, we did the Energy Savings Improvement Plan, the ESIP. 2020, we had the ESSER funds and projects through all 3 rounds of those grants. We did the solar PPA in 2021, and in 2023, successfully got some ROD grants. In the last 10 plus years, we've completed somewhere between $55 and $60 million worth of projects between referendums, capital projects, and capital reserves and savings, and grants. And all those projects originated from a facilities condition assessment. This is a living document. We add to it and remove to it every year with a range of projects. And this goes back to the 2020 Long Range Facilities Plan initiative that was introduced in 2000 by the DOE. This was supposed to be a living document intended to detail the district's school facilities needs and the district's plan to address those needs. The state intended for it to be updated every 5 years, starting in 2000, and quickly realized in 2005, when 600 plus districts submitted an update, it took them 3 years to issue approval letters. So in 2010 and 11, they restructured the entire program. They realized that their software was already out of date, and for the last 15 plus years have been planning to replace that software. Still no end in sight for that. So this brought us to our version of our strategic plan, our tactical approach. So it starts with strategic planning, our needs assessment, our risk management, our prioritization, and then execution of projects. So we develop a binder that will list all of our projects and needs and categorize them in a high, medium, and low, so we can actually tackle them year by year. In reviewing that, we look at all of the building systems, from structure to HVAC to roofing to plumbing. Everything has a useful life, and the average expected service life of any major system is on the 30-year average. So that's how we kind of gauge when things need to be replaced and when there is a cutoff between maintenance versus replacement and when that needs to get accomplished. In the capital improvement plan, there are categories. This is a snapshot of that at a very high level by category. So in the high priority category, we have 9 projects: HVAC, boilers, windows, electrical, switchgear replacements, and so on. In medium priority, interior renovations, high school dust collector, some field upgrades and replacements, bathrooms, parking lots, and then low priority is interior renovations. So, like I said, this is a living document. Projects go from one category to the other and slide back and forth. None of these are in failure today and need to be replaced immediately. This is a planning tool, so this is always changing and projects shift and slide. Currently in that binder, we have identified about $120 million worth of potential projects. And then in the high priority projects, we've identified about 9 categories. Some are existing additions shown here. HVAC upgrades. So images here, we have Cedar Hill, Woodmont, Mason, and is that Hilldale? All of these HVAC equipments are relatively original to the buildings, all constructed in the 60s, meaning that those systems are about 60 years old. If we go back a few slides, useful life is somewhere in the 30. So these are 30 years past their useful life, which only promotes the district's approach to maintenance, longevity, but at a point, it's too much to maintain, and it's time for replacement. We have generators at the high school, boilers at the high school. Boilers are relatively newer, but parts are harder to source. You can see the boiler on the left is actually being decommissioned, and parts are being cannibalized to put into the other boilers to keep them running. Windows, again, original to these buildings. This is exterior. While they look in great shape, again, the district maintains everything, keeps them painted, repaired, but they could be more efficient. From the interior, they are single pane glass, so they are not energy efficient. When we go to replace the HVAC units, there'll be a significant need to replace the windows as well, for also the efficiency and how the HVAC and the windows are tied together. Electrical switch gears, again, original, in need for replacement just due to age. Auditorium high school, due to age and just high use, could use a facelift and some interior renovations, and then funding sources. like I said, the district has been very good at using all of these different options, from ROD grants to ESIPs to reserves. Lease purchase agreements, not necessarily appropriate for some capital projects. Those are 3 or 5 year leases. You can't do those with large projects. And the county school construction financing program, your county does not offer that, and you cannot go to any other counties because your county does not offer it. And we're going to talk about referendums a little bit more. So there are 5 potential referendum dates every year: November, December, January, March, and September. And the timelines with that are based off of the DOE applications, review times, deadlines, agency approvals, and with referendums comes debt service aid eligibility. So all the projects we've identified for this referendum have debt service aid available, up to 40%, which is a big cost savings and big contribution from the state to help spread the district's dollars. This is the cost associated with the high priority projects. So in the elementary schools, it is a subtotal of about $24 million. The middle school, about $2.3 million. The high school, $9.2 million, for a grand total of $35.6 million. With that 35.6, the debt service aid is roughly $12 million. So it's a big, significant contribution from the state. Our timeline to date and our timeline looking forward for a potential referendum: we started some initial due diligence with the district back in April. In June, there was the community feedback survey. We commenced starting the application process to the state. Today is July 21st. We're looking for approval to keep moving forward for the DOE submission for July 31st, which is the deadline for a January referendum. With that submission, we anticipate PEC letters, which are the eligible cost letters from the state, basically indicating the $12 million in debt service aid by October, approval and acceptance of them by November, again, for that January referendum vote date. So, any questions?
Thank you so much for all your work and your loyalty to Montville. My question is, the auditorium is part of, it looks like it's part of the must-have. So, am I wrong?
It was included in the high priority. It's not a must-have, but it's a high priority recommended project based on based on the conditions. It's one of the last large educational spaces to be updated. In the past referendum, all of the media centers were done, all of the gyms were done. So this is one of the last kind of spaces like that to be updated and renovated.
Can you tell me what that means? What will be done?
What will be done? So it would be acoustical upgrades, lighting upgrades, finish upgrades, seating, carpeting, modernization of what we call the back of house, because all of the stage was previously done.
Okay.
I'm sorry, all the stage was what? I didn't hear that.
The stage, the theatrical portions, was previously done. So there's new rigging, curtains, and theatrical lighting was previously completed 5 or 6 years ago, I believe, top of my head.
Have you ever heard of or worked with any ESIPs for Windows?
Energy savings improvement programs are a funding mechanism where the energy savings from the projects pays for the work completed. Windows, while they do save energy, the buyback and the amount savings per year doesn't produce enough savings for the Windows upgrades in the life of the bond. So ESIPs are bonded for 15 or 20 years. So while going from single pane windows that are almost zero efficiency to a double pane, which is 50% to 90% more efficient, and has a energy efficiency improvement of 20 to 30%. That increase in efficiency and doesn't necessarily buy back the cost of the windows and the construction within the term of the bond. So windows typically are not included. The previous ESIP, we did a significant amount, and the most savings came from lighting. So going from the old T8, T12 bulbs to LEDs, that paid for the roofs and the lighting and everything else in that ESIP.
Is there a way, staying on that, to kind of subsidize, like self-subsidize the difference between what the windows do save and that savings versus what the total project costs?
I would have to consult with the district's bonding attorney to see if there's a subsidy on that. I don't know off the top of my head. I'll look into that for the board.
Okay, thanks. Because if we could remove, let's say, an item and maybe pay 10 cents on the dollar for windows, even though it doesn't cover the whole thing.
So through a referendum, you're going to get the 40 cents on the up to 40% savings. So there is that. Windows are definitely eligible for that.
I think part of what Will and I looked at when we were looking at we manage that high, medium, and low priority list every year. And part of us looking at putting the windows on the referendum is that with 40 cents on every dollar, we're getting more from the state than we could get from the ESIP.
Okay.
So we're trying to find the balance between all the funding opportunities and where do we get the biggest bang for our buck.
Would that be the same with HVAC upgrades? Right? Because most of them do end up qualifying for ESIP.
Correct.
That 40% from the state would be more than
Would
the
be
ESIP.
more.
Okay.
Correct.
Correct.
Because I remember last time, a lot of the real savings ended up being closer to 32 or something like that. So I'd love to see just what the comparison is,
And where we'll go next is the next place is to then take bond counsel and your financing team and begin to bring them into this process. And that's where the calculation of what's the actual percentage, because it won't always be a full 40, will come. Now, that being said, if you think back to the 23 referendum, a lot of the work that was included in that was new build. New build gets we do get money from the state for new build, but it's at a significantly lower percentage. All of the work that we're proposing as part of this referendum would be all renovation work, and that's getting the most dollars. Whether it's 32, 38, something a little less than 40, it's the highest amount given.
That's why you're our BA.
Joe, I have a question. Can you show us again the timeline? I just have a question regarding that. Okay. So the referendum vote is January 26, and our last referendum vote was December?
Yes.
It was December. I am just worried about how that could look to folks because it's in the end of January. There's senior citizens that are in Florida for a month. This is when a lot of people travel. I don't know. I'm just a little concerned about that. People saying they picked a time when we're traveling, or
No, I mean,
I don't know.
Right, I hear you on that, but you need as much lead time as you can so you can get work done during the summer. If you do a March or a later vote, you lose that whole summer, and now you're losing almost a whole year of construction time.
Can we do it in December, or is that not possible?
I think then we're razor thin close if we have to do December. I think we may have missed it already.
I believe we've missed the opportunity for a December referendum. The December referendums are the second Tuesday, meaning we would need applications to the state minimally 6 months before that. So that would be beginning
This
of
month, yeah.
June.
Okay.
So that's why we're.
So it's impossible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
That's based on the workload and the capacity of the state.
Don't referendum votes work the same in terms of mail-in or absentee ballots? If people are away, they can,
Correct.
right, so they have the opportunity to still vote, even if they're not.
Correct.
Thank you very much, Will.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
your
much.
time.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Mark, we'll do the last presentation, please. Thank you. So that was the nuts and bolts of what literally is going on behind the scenes in our buildings. Right now, we're going to switch over to, we did a survey of the community. We put the survey out last month. We ran it for, I guess, about almost a month. We ran it. We had 343 survey respondents, and we'll get to some of the results in 1 second.
I still think it was useless. Maybe they said they got some good data in the comments.
Okay, so we put this out on our website. We put it in social media. We put it on different parent social media sites as well, and we also had it on the township website as well. So again, 343 survey respondents. If you look at the first pie chart on the left, you'll see 65% of the respondents were from the high school and the middle school. Overall, we had 86% of the people that responded had children in the district. Only 14% who responded had no children in the school system right now. In the middle column, you'll see 36% of the people who responded lived in this town for 16 plus years. And if you combine that with the other category of 19%, we had about 55% of the people have lived in this town 11 plus years who responded to the survey. On the right, you'll see the pie chart that we had the overall facilities rating. 37% felt that the facilities were above average or excellent. And then if you include the yellow, which is the 46%, which they felt it was average, we were at 83% of positive responses for the facilities. Getting more into the nitty-gritty with this is the heating, the windows, and the mechanical switches. When we ask people, what do you think? It's very difficult to replace the parts of many of these items that are 60 plus years old. And as you heard from our architect talking about that, we're cannibalizing some of our own machines, and it's having difficulty finding replacement parts. So if you look at the left-hand side for heating units, we had 51% say they were in favor. They would definitely support or absolutely support. Add in the other 25%, that's 3/4 of the people were in favor of upgrading the heating systems. With the windows, roughly the same. 44% were definitely or absolutely supporting it. Another 20% said they would support it, for a total of 64%. And mechanical switches, which this is what helps bring the electricity into the different buildings. Again, a lot of these units and these items that we're talking about are 60 plus years old. So we had 42% that would support it, definitely or absolutely, and another 21% in the yellow supporting it. That's bringing that total to 63%. On the next page, we had the fire systems. This is a very supportive category, 59% in the green and another 20% in the yellow, bringing it to 79% overall. Technology enhancements, 29% in the green, supporting it, and 27% in the yellow. So giving us a total of 56% supporting technology enhancements of wiring and different things to get us a little bit more up to speed in the different buildings. The installing generators when we have power outages, tornadoes, things like that, alerts, anything that can knock things out, helping provide emergency lighting. We had 36% in the green, 21% in the yellow, giving us a total of 57% supporting that category. When we asked about class sizes, this is not involving the cafeterias for the elementary schools, but when we asked about adding different classrooms, We had 47% overall supporting it in the green, 19% in the yellow, giving us a total of 66%. And you can see the breakdown by the different schools. In this, you have the 5 elementary schools, but you also have Lazar. And people were saying that the Lazar is overcrowded and we could use a little more space there. Again, the cafeterias that we were proposing at the elementary levels, that did not get as much support. That's why we just stuck with those other things about classrooms. For Lazar, we asked about a new auditorium there because for curricular reasons and everything and the stress that it's putting on the high school. So we did have a favorable outcome of 41% in the green, 17% in the yellow, giving a total of 58%. And the new outdoor space, because there's not a lot of space because you can't use the back of the building for space behind Lazar. Again, 44% in the green, 14% in the yellow, of a total of 58%. At the high school, we talked about the boilers, elevators, auditorium, and generators. Not to go into each one specifically, but the boilers, we had 76%, the elevators, 68%, auditorium renovation, 64%, and generator replacement, 64% support. So all very positive. Katine?
So if we go back to the list that Mr. Ross presented as our high priority items, listed here, broken down by the elementary, Lazar, and the high school, that list comes to $35,600,000. In terms of support across all of those different areas, you're ranging anywhere from the high 50s in terms of support all the way up to almost 80%, depending on the different area and the different item. So you definitely have support. This does not include the cafeterias or the renovation to the elementary buildings or Lazar for additional classroom space, nor does it include the outdoor space or the auditorium at Lazar. Going back to the timeline, this is the same timeline that Mr. Ross went through in terms of how we're proceeding through. So where we sort of are in the moment is that there is a resolution on the agenda for approval, authorizing Prat Samjan to go and do the schematics and the scope and other documents, submittals that are required by the Department of Education in order for us to meet that July 31st deadline for the January 26 referendum. So what that resolution is doing is saying you can go ahead and do the submissions on behalf of the Board of Education. It is not necessarily putting together a question. It is not discussing what the tax impact is. It's just merely doing the submission to the Department of Ed of the projects. Now, what is included in that project base is the projects listed in the 35 million. Meaning that unless you tell us otherwise, we are not including the classroom additions, we are not including the cafeteria additions, we are not including the additional auditorium at Lazar, and we are not including the additional outdoor space at Lazar.
So we're leaving it up for discussion right now. If anybody wants to make any comments on anything, Dave?
Sure. I'm going to start off and just say, Katine, thank you so much, you and administration, in putting this together. You know, we do have a lot that has to be addressed, and I think we're eyeing up right now the real needs that this district needs, especially with, you know, the HVAC systems and all the projects that you have identified right here. So again, I appreciate all the work you've done, and yeah, let's hear from some of our board members. Dave.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess my question is, this list that Prat Samjan is going to work on is not final. We can add to it, we can subtract it, but problem is if we want to add anything to it, we would have to have them work on the schematics and send those off to Trenton. Would it make more sense to have more items that we might consider putting in here, for instance, the cafeterias or something else, and have those schematics worked up. And that way, later on, we can, if we decide we don't want them, we just delete them out before the referendum. But at least this way, we have those schematics if we choose to move forward with them.
Yes, that is an option that you have. In terms of schematics, they already have schematics on classroom additions and cafeterias because that was part of the 23 referendum that was voted down. So really all we're asking for is new drawings on Lazar's auditorium and the outdoor space. Those would not have been drawn yet. If that is a direction that you're interested in really pursuing come a question, then we can make that adjustment. If you don't think you're going to do that, I would hate to have them do the work and then us not use it.
So those schematics are still valid?
Yes. From the original,
How long?
they're forever.
Oh,
Once you
really?
get your approval, you've got your approval. So we already have approval on the classroom additions and the cafeterias. The only ones we don't have, aside from this 35 million, is the additional outdoor space at Lazar and the auditorium. But again, I wouldn't want to have them do that work if you're not really going to seriously consider it as part of a question.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen the results. I haven't looked at those results yet as far as what the support was in the community, so I can't say.
It was supportive. I'll look it up right now.
Yes. You had support for both the classroom additions, which is page
Right. That I
5.
saw, but the auditorium, the Lazar auditorium. was
And
that-
then page 6 is the auditorium and the outdoor space.
Yeah, for the Lazar Auditorium, you had about 41% in the green
Yep.
and 58
Got it.
overall.
I just want to remind everyone that
I know.
we had how many people participate? 300 and
343.
yes, we have 20-something thousand residents that will vote on what we decide to hone in on. So keep that in mind.
Okay, so just so I'm clear then, the projects that are eligible for the maximum or the 40% is what we see up there on the screen right now?
Correct.
Okay, so there's nothing on that screen that's not eligible for 40%, and there's nothing that's eligible for 40% that's not on the screen?
Correct.
Okay.
So the items that we do not have on the screen currently are all of the items in which they are considered new renovation, new construction, and their percentage coverage is based on a number. I'm pretty sure something on the range of about $120 per square foot. In terms of how much does it cost to build that square foot in real life is probably close to $600. The number got locked in statute and it never moved. It's been the same number for decades now. So when you talk about how much you're going to cover, you're talking something in the range of maybe 15% of the total cost would come from state aid. So instead of us picking up 60% of those additions, we're really picking up 85.
So, because when you look at the overall percentage of this sample population of the things like the Lazar, the Lazar renovations and the classrooms, those percentages are definitely the same as many of the items up here in terms of the approval. So, I guess a couple things. One, is your rationale for what you picked truly that the maximum, getting the 40%? And keeping this total referendum within a certain more reasonable number, if you will. I mean, 35 million, but still comparatively to what it would be if we added everything. Are there other reasons why you chose to not start with, because, one of the big concerns that we've been hearing at meetings and in the survey was class size. None of this specifically addresses that. But that's kind of the less return in terms of what's covered and the more expensive pieces. So I assume that's why. I just kind of would like to understand more of the rationale behind how we got to this list.
I mean, you summed it up perfectly, but Katine could maybe.
I think a lot of this is driven not so much by the 40%, but by the high priority items that Mr. Ross spoke about. When we go through this process, and this process is an annual process, we've done this every year for the past 10 years. We take the $120 million and we put a bunch of projects that we really, really need to do this. For example, when we decided to do the sister schools gym enclosures. That made it onto the list, not because they look pretty, but because the outside skin of those gyms, the metal was beginning to deteriorate and we were getting water infiltration. So that's something that's considered a priority. Now, could we have done it 100 different ways, and did we opt for a way that it would allow us to put their mascots on each of the gyms? Yes, we did elect to do that, but that was no more expensive than if we had picked some other way. And the way that the reason we picked that project was because of the water infiltration. That's how it gets to be a red project versus a yellow project versus a green project. So that is the first thing that we look at. The fact that we can get the 40% is nice, and yes, I guess it probably weighs in, but not nearly as much as you think. We're really looking at this more from a how do we maintain the facilities safely and not as good stewards, so that we keep the buildings in good shape and we protect our asset.
Right, and just to go back to, since the last referendum did not get passed, we've been trying to do a little bit of this with our own reserves. And obviously $31 million, we will not be able to accomplish that in the near future at all. So the 40% back on top of trying to expedite this, because 60 plus years, these things are starting to fail. We're going to be in trouble pretty soon if we do not address these.
Additionally, the biggest number on that list is $17 million in HVAC replacements and boilers added in. Those were part of the 23 referendum. So it's not like these are new things to us. We've been trying to do them. And actually that number was much larger in the 23 referendum, but we then went forward and we did work on Valley View, we've done work on Lazar, and again, hierarchying. Who has the worst HVAC in the district? We're going to do those projects first, and we paid for those 100%, dollar for dollar, out of the reserves over the past 5 years.
My follow-up based on this is, I know that we're concerned about potentially doing a multi-question referendum. The one that passed in 2017 was successful in the multi-question referendum, and so we did it last time. And some feedback we got was that was an unsuccessful approach. People felt it was a little, they didn't like that one depended on the other. My initial thought, and I'd like to throw it out there for my colleagues, is that I'm still inclined to give the public the option on the classrooms and maybe some of the other renovations. Somehow I agree and understand this priority here. I don't know that we should shy away from the multiple question thing, because what we're hearing about the concern about class size and how this, the survey results, I like I said, I'd like to throw it out there for discussion, but I think a good portion of the public, from what we're hearing and what we're seeing, would be interested in voting on that too. And, so I'm open to hear other thoughts and discussion on it.
Justine?
Joe, thank you. I would only vote yes to the facilities repairs and program enhancements that the administration gave to us. Many of you know when I campaign, I knock on 1,000 to 2,000 doors, and the referendum was brought up plenty of times, and I speak to all different types of voters. And parents who have children in the school voted against it. And it's because their children were in 4th or 5th grade. They knew they would not benefit, and they did not want their taxes to go up $500 to $800 or whatever per year. So I do not want a second question. I think that will drive people who are unhappy about taxes, because residents know that most of the taxes they pay locally are going towards our schools. I don't want this to fail. So I've been here for 30 years, and I have a lot of friends whose kids were in trailers, and that was a big, oh no, my child. Well, one's a surgeon, the other one is a doctor, and they're all doctors actually. So we have magnificent teachers. We are helping to mentor children who will thrive no matter what. I went to school, there was 28 kids in the class in the 70s. We have a lot of, I think if we have good support for the teachers and the students, it will get passed because we go up and we go down as far as enrollment goes. But I will not support anything besides this. I will not support a second question. This is not, again, kids go across the street. Kids 30 years ago, 20 years ago went across the street. I don't want to put the taxpayers in a worse position. We have parents whose children have left the nest and they're staying in their homes, and every year their taxes go up. And I just want those families to keep staying, because if they sell, more families will move in, and I don't want people to feel like they have to leave Montville. So that's how I feel.
Follow-up question. Just out of curiosity, these things like the Lazar Auditorium, they're not going to get the full amount. Do we have any idea what kind of percentage they would get?
Probably something around 15.
Okay, and look, I think that's why the last referendum failed. We had a referendum back in 2017. Even the Tea Party supported it because everyone said, you're spending $10, you're getting 17. How can you go wrong? I don't disagree with anything Michelle says. I think there is a lot of support out there for the other projects. Whether or not it's enough to pass a referendum, I don't know. And in the atmosphere that we are right now, let's face it, it's not a great economy right now. I think the best chance we have is to stick with the stuff we see on the board over here, because if we start getting greedy, instead of getting half a loaf, we're going to get none.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, and that's why I wanted to put it out for discussion. Look, I've lived here 25 years too, and I've talked to a lot of voters and kept my, pulse on many people, as you have. I have the same concerns about people and affordability. I'm not 100% convinced there's not enough support to have more people who want those things, but I have concern based on the last referendum. Would it cause people not to vote for it? I don't think I'm as absolute as that I think that it would cause it to fail. But if the board has enough, part of me thinks if it's put out in the right way, let's let the public decide. Let's let them tell us why, but if the board is wary of it and we think we have a better chance, I could understand and respect that too. I'm not 100% convinced that it's not the right thing to put it out to the public. And I don't think it's irresponsible to ask them, because if a majority passed it, clearly then they wanted it. But I understand the hesitancy. I just want to put that thought out there.
Yeah, I don't think we can go for the classrooms, which is another super large spend, in addition to this large spend. The only thing I would be open to considering is kind of what Dave suggested, is if we want to move forward with the schematics for either the new auditorium or the outdoor space. I personally like the outdoor space because the parking lot to me is a better solve. That would be an open second question, because it's a far less of an ask and it's such a different issue that I don't think it would confuse anyone as to our primary objective.
Guys, we're using the word second question kind of loosely. Do we mean second question as in a second question as part of the referendum, or are we talking about second question as when you have a budget and then you have a second question for the budget?
We are not
let's not
talking
interchange
budget.
terms. Yeah.
So we need a little direction from the board. So am I hearing, or do you want to do
Well,
like
my thought process too is that, I think the last referendum in 23, the district itself, you guys were promoting it. You went to all the different community groups, the PTCs. You were trying to sell them on this idea. And you fantastically, you guys did it. You went and did everything you could. But yet you still couldn't get the full support because of the large number that was tied to it. You know, this is what we're saying now is we have these high priority needs that need to be addressed. You know, you've shown presentation, we've seen everything there. I think that this is a better sell to the community saying, look, if you want to keep these schools running, then we need to get these issues fixed. You know, and that's just my thought. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, then I'll go ahead and just say, I'd like to make a motion that we get the extra schematics written up. So, is there a second?
Excuse me, does that cost money? How much?
I don't know.
I would like to know how much first. I mean, before we vote on it. I don't like just voting on something.
Unfortunately, I don't have that information.
When would you need a vote or direction from us? You would need it tonight, or could you wait till next meeting to get that direction?
No, because I missed the 31st deadline.
So you really do need that direction tonight. If we're going to give you any extra direction, you need that tonight.
I can do the classrooms because we have them already. I don't know off the top of my head the cost to do the work needed to get the auditorium or the outdoor space.
Can you give us an estimate, and we can give you an upper limit as to what you can spend on it?
May I interject? I'm not opposed to getting the specs for the classrooms. And the reason is, if our demographer is correct, and we're seeing it in real life that he is correct, there is going to be a growing roar of parents who want their children in classrooms that don't have 28 kids. And so I think we should be prepared in that way. And I'm not a fan of a second question, but we'll have to see how it shakes out. I would like to know those numbers.
But we have those schematics, and those schematics are still valid, and we can go
But we
back
don't
to
have
them
a
at
price
any time.
tag. So,
Yes, we do.
They're already
Oh.
approved.
okay. Then
Yeah,
there
the
we go.
classrooms have been approved, and we do have a price tag that's the same price tag as was proposed for the 23 referendum. We don't have the auditorium and the outdoor space because that's something that came up since the 23. And unfortunately, I wasn't sure if you were going to go in this direction, so that's why I didn't price it out.
But do you
I
have-
would be reluctant to price out the auditorium for Lazar and the new playground, even though I think we need it. I think a greater priority is going to be the classrooms. And I'm not suggesting that that's going to be part of the referendum, but I don't see any harm in knowing what that number is.
So we did have a.
I still have a motion. I need a second.
I'll second Dave's motion and we'll vote on it.
Yeah.
And then
And what exactly is this for?
Just getting the schematics for the Lazar Auditorium and the outdoor spaces. That's all it is just the schematics.
But it's going to
But-
delay us, David. And
No,
that,
it's going out with all these other schematics.
Yeah, but I'm against having the auditorium and the fields done. I mean, I've talked to folks in the public. This is now getting really, I think, too big.
He's probably driving. Okay, we're trying to get you a price.
Can we delay this motion until he comes back? Okay.
Oh,
Oh my goodness, he just arrives.
Man of the hour. Okay.
Well, the question is, what would it cost PSA to put together schematics for submission by the 31st of July on the outdoor space at Lazar and the auditorium?
So the typical professional service fee for the DOE application for a pre-referendum schematic submission is between $4,000 and $7,500 for the application. This would probably be in the middle of that because it is a full-blown middle school auditorium. The schematic submission for this is quite intense. We have to do a full schematic floor plan, site plan, they're called educational specifications, proving out seating capacity, ADA, all of the different ancillary spaces that go with it. Are there dressing rooms? Are there restrooms? Are there stage shops? You know, it's more of a design exercise, meeting with the district administration, theatrical department to see what the actual needs are. You can't just show a square box of 12,000 square feet and say it's going to cost X dollars. It needs to be a little bit further than that. Can it be done in 10 business days and sent to the state?
Not right now.
Yes, it'd be a lot, and it'd be many hours with the district to work through this quickly.
In that case, I think I might want to go ahead and withdraw my motion.
I just want to put it out there as well. You know, in what we're proposing now, we're going to be doing renovations to the high school auditorium, which will make it 10 times better. So Lazar will have an opportunity to use that once it's done.
Would the cost of the schematics change if it was the other alternative, the parking lot change and the outdoor space?
It would be on the lower side of that. I'd have to take a look and see exactly what we're doing. If it's just the parking lot and redoing the existing parking lot, turning into green space, it would be significantly less than the auditorium.
You know, I understand the costs and everything associated with it. I'm not saying we should do it. I think for the future, and just tell me if this is right, for future thinking, it costs us money. I've heard this it talked about in Lazar. When they do their shows, like we have to bus the kids over to the high school. An additional auditorium in in Lazar could be revenue for us because we could rent it out the way we do the other revenue. So I'm not necessarily talking about as part of this referendum, but I think that the discussion shouldn't just be it's this frivolous thing. I know we spend money to bring the Lazar Peep kids over to the high school. It limits how much we could rent out the high school auditorium because it's being used dual purpose, and we would have a potential revenue generator in Lazar Auditorium. I'm not necessarily talking about for now, but I think that's a bigger picture that people to remember just than it being this nice thing. I think that there's a much bigger components to thinking about the Lazar Auditorium.
Well, maybe a second question on a budget some years down the road, maybe.
One other question, just while you're here, kind of unrelated. If we do all the projects that are high priority, what do you expect if, that would save us in maintenance dollars? Could you put a number on that a year? That we could tell the public then, look, we're going to not only get you this, but we're also going to save the X dollars a year.
I don't have those figures with me tonight, but we can definitely work with the facilities department and the business office to come up with some figures. There are constant in-house repairs and maintenance on HVAC equipment, boiler maintenance, third-party contractors or vendors coming in to do things. So I'm sure we could piece that together and come up with an annual
That would
savings.
be helpful, yeah. Thank you.
So what I'm hearing is we're moving forward with the $35,661,000 to move that forward. I'm hearing moving forward with the classrooms, at least because it's all done, just move that forward to the state, or no?
It's already
No?
done.
So
That
two
already
no's,
done?
but three no's.
I
Okay.
don't think we have to do anything on that right
Yeah.
now, right?
No.
Correct. We don't have to
No.
do any. We don't have to do anything because we already did it.
Right.
Don't leave.
I'm still here. Correct. The approvals from the past DOE application submission are still in effect. Those as is can be reused moving forward.
Quick question on that. The costs, we were talking about the cost of those. That was the 2023 costs. Inflation has been substantial since then. Would we be allowed, how do they allow us to adjust the price or not?
Okay, submission to the DOE for that price only would apply to what they're currently covering in debt service, meaning, yes, you need to give us updated numbers. However, we're still only getting 121 or whatever the number is per square foot on those because of them being additions. So that wouldn't change.
The debt service aid would not change, and I believe the number is 40% of $145 per square foot of eligible square footage. It's very complicated. So eligible square footage is determined by the number of what the state classifies as unhoused students based on your current curriculum, number of rooms, and your district practices of students per room. That number is then calculated per student per square foot, and it gives you a calculation of a total square foot, and then you get 143 times that, and then 40% of that. So it's a very insignificant number when they were projecting $600 a square foot in new construction, and the state is giving you $60 a square foot, so almost 10%.
Something you just said made me think, do we have the ability to make the square footage more or less eligible based on our policy of students per classroom? And should we raise it or lower it?
We already have done that exercise. We are very aggressive in the way we apply for this.
No, but don't leave.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. So we'll
Thank
start
you.
moving forward. Thank you, Will.
Okay, thank you.
Might want to stay longer.
All right, just quickly, I just have two things. Just an update on Hilldale. It's still in litigation. Our attorney just updated us. He's in back and forth with their attorneys, and they're very close to some kind of finalized deal. So we're expecting some kind of construction to begin in the very near future, and I hope to have an update real soon for everybody. So we're optimistic about that. And the last thing was just the the quarter four district goals, the results, just in the efforts because of time, interest of time. So I've shared that with everybody. If you have any questions, just come back to me. But we completed all our fourth quarter goals, and we're just ending on a very solid year with all of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Moving on, we're going to go to committee reports. So, Karen, why don't you start us off?
This is for
Finance.
This is for Facilities and Finance. At the committee, we just had our committee meeting tonight. We discussed the facility survey in great detail. We had preliminary discussions of a possible referendum, which we have spoken about right now. And we also took a look at our use of facilities, categories, and fee schedule.
Thank you. Curriculum, Michael?
We have a meeting scheduled for July 30th.
Okay. Policy?
Thanks, Joe. So we met with Mr. Sanford and Dr. Gorman. Thank you so much, Mr. Sanford. You did an incredible job. You had a lot of policies to deal with. In general, the committee reviewed updates required by changes in New Jersey state statutes, administrative codes, and audits. All policies and regulations reviewed were approved by the committee and appear on tonight's agenda for a first reading. I'll tell you briefly what they were. Due to the new state policy prohibiting students from using personal internet-enabled devices during the school day, Policy 2363 was abolished. Therefore, students will no longer be allowed to bring your own device. All students must use district-issued Chromebooks. Policy and Regulations 5516 outline the rules and disciplinary consequences to enforce the new state ban on personal cell phones and internet devices during the school day. The committee decided that devices must be stored in backpacks or lockers across all grade levels. These devices will be prohibited on school buses, K through 8th, 8th grade. There will be a progressive discipline structure in place for any student that violates the policy, and I believe this is the same policy anyway, so it won't be new for the kids. The notification of board meeting updates aligns now with the new state law allowing public entities to post legal notices on their official free websites rather than publishing them in legal newspapers. And we did, the last one was the family leave. It just was revised, reflects significant expansions to the New Jersey Family Leave Act. Employees now have only to be employed for 3 months, down from 12 months, and work 250 hours, down from 1,000 hours, to qualify for leave. Thank you.
Thanks. Communications, Michael.
No report.
Safety and security, John.
No report.
Delegate liaison for New Jersey school boards.
Thank you. I'll give a brief report. I'll start with report of the resolution subcommittee. The committee sent to the delegate assembly 6 resolutions. You can look these up online in the consideration of time. So the delegate assembly is on May 16th. We elected a new vice president of county activities, Charles Caraballo from Passaic County. Legislative committee met on May 30th. And that's all for school boards.
Thank you. Morris County school boards, Michael.
No report.
The Morris County Educational Service Commission, they didn't have a meeting. They're on a summer break. But I will add just to Morris County school boards that Montville High School will be hosting the first meeting of the 26-27 county meetings here at the high school. And that's again going to be on Wednesday, September 23rd. So you guys should attend.
Not going to snow that day?
And that's what we asked for September. We didn't want to wait for the December one. So, Caitlin's not here from the Alliance. John, athletic boosters.
No report.
Christine,
Special Education Parents Advisory Group. So it was a Zoom meeting during the daytime. The supervisor gave a presentation. She talked about action-based learning, and some people were interested in bringing it to general education. It's a big hit. They talked about extended school year at Valley View, and it started obviously, and it will end August 11th. They talked about transportation, staff professional development. This school district has 3 behavioral assets going throughout the entire district. They talked about safety care. One parent was on the call, and she brought up some great points. It was a great back and forth. One thing I did want to bring to your attention, she mentioned at Valley View the playground safety. The gate is not, the play area is not fenced in totally. So there is a concern of kids eloping, and during playground time. She didn't know if maybe the school was doing something, or maybe the PTA, because not only did it help special ed, but also general ed students. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention, the concern about safety.
We'll look into that or put that on the next referendum. So.
Oh gosh, okay. Also, the parent was really wonderful. She talked about different types of procedures if there's a substitute driver or a substitute one-on-one aide or a teacher. It was very nice back and forth. And she also talked about progress reports. They are data-driven. And maybe implementing the district student information cards for if there is a substitute, they know all about the child. It was really a great one. And then there was a speaker that spoke about creating a calm and connected home, which was wonderful. So that's my report.
Thank you. Since the schools are in summer break, unless anyone has anything they want to say from the PTA, you can speak now. Okay. This is the first public participation for items on the agenda. If you'd like to come up and speak, you're welcome to. Seeing none.
And Mark, we could kill the presentation. We're done.
We'll move to consent resolutions. If I can get a motion.
Second.
Thank you. Section I are minutes. Section J. Section K.
Okay, all of you have an addendum connected with you. We are adding some more new contracts and revising some contracts. And then you also have one personnel for unused sick time that's for a payout. That's on K-12. So K-5 and K-12 have addendums of items being added.
Section L.
L, we have amended 2 people for line 37 and 38. And that was just their termination dates are different.
Section M. And section N. Yes.
Okay, so on 5516, the cell phone policy, what is a non-internet enabled device? Mr.
Flip
Sanford, or?
It's like a flip phone or a beeper or something like that, or
Okay.
or it could be a camera, being used somehow.
Okay, and why would those be prohibited?
We didn't want to open the door to any kind of device. If we're trying to keep kids off of any type of devices, we didn't want them all to start buying flip phones or something like that and then start using that as a way to text each other and getting around the law.
Okay, yeah, because I could see something like a camera, a regular, old time 35 millimeter camera being
Right.
useful.
Correct. And if it is useful, that's part of our curriculum. It's part of the things the board have approved. Then we have no problem with that. The whole thing is trying to stay within the spirit of the law of not trying to circumvent texting and communicating with people.
And the other comment I had about that was, I really don't think that having them stow their devices in backpacks or locker or shoe caddies, whatever, is going to be effective. Kids are always going to be trying to sneak them out, look at them. I know Lazar, they're very effective at keeping the kids away from their phones during the day. And so I would hope that the administration talks to the new administration over at the high school about enforcement. But I would like to follow that up with a request that come next July, that you provide us with a review of how the year went and see if we need to make any adjustments.
Absolutely. So we didn't want to invest too much money into different storage devices until we saw how effective this was, and then we will update you accordingly. Absolutely.
So in 1 year, we'll get an update.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
And I also want to mention, Joe, real quick, that children who have IEPs or are allowed permitted medical reason, special needs, they are allowed to use their phone as long as the administration knows and it's in their program. And I will tell you that I was a little disappointed. We have to follow the law, but I know that many of us wanted the children to be, the high school kids, to have access it during lunchtime and during, the hallways, but we are not allowed to let them have that. So I just wanted everyone to realize we were disappointed, but we know the kids will be okay. And if there's ever an emergency, we were assured by Mr. Sanford and Dr. Gorman if the child needed to speak to their parents or vice versa. It's always been this way in policy that children can go to the administration, ask to speak to their parents. So we want the parents and the students to understand we wished it was different, but unfortunately we have to follow the law.
Absolutely correct. The state just 2 weeks ago gave us an FAQ, frequently asked questions. They clarified that schools are not allowed to have it in the hallways or at lunchtime. So it's a complete ban from bell to bell. And then before and after school, you had some wiggle room to decide on policy, which we did.
John and I were laughing because, we were like, no, we're okay with this. I know some members didn't want
Yep, exactly.
wanted it differently, but we were okay.
I just have one more thing. L8, we also are removing from the agenda. L8 was the approval of a new job description. It just wasn't ready in time for this meeting. It will be on the agenda in August.
Thank you. Okay, let's vote on this. Roll call.
Dr. Modrak?
Yes.
Mr. Petrosino?
Yes.
Dr. Cordolino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fano?
Yes?
Mr. Palma?
Yes.
Mr. Rappaport?
Yes.
Mrs. Zuckerman?
Yes.
Mr. Daughtry?
Yes, but abstain on K1. Any old business that needs to be discussed? Any general board comments or new business? I will say NJSBA is offering webinars. Believe I sent you guys an email like 2 weeks ago. They're doing one tomorrow on summer policy updates, just covering all the recent updates coming from home instruction, student mental health. And then next week, they're also doing a webinar on goal setting. I know we're going to be discussing it in August, so you might want to check that out and just, get some ideas. So that's all I have.
If the board wants, we can also have one of the field service representatives come and help us with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Paul would reach out
It's
to Paul.
free.
And, yeah. Free is good. Our last public participation on any items of interest, if you want to come up and speak. Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Thank you very much.